My name is Rich Linder. Xenter is my fourth company. After building a number of companies selling to Boston Scientific, being a member of the Boston Scientific executive team, another to Johnson & Johnson, another that's in the process of exiting in the orthopedic space, I built Xenter for a different purpose. We brought together some of the world's leading scientists in one place. The founding scientific advisors include some of the who's who in interventional medicine, also in science and engineering. The purpose for doing that is we want to go wireless. We want to eliminate capital equipment, build smart wireless medical devices, and integrate all of that data real time in a single global healthcare cloud. That's a lot. And we think we've done that, and we're starting with transluminal aortic valve replacement, or TAVR. So there's no better way to show something than to have an animation. So here we go. That's a model of an actual cardiac cath lab. We believe physical intelligence data is real time. It enables clinical decisions and improves clinical outcomes. And we want to gather that globally, enabling machine learning. As you know, everything's about, and machine learning about being an inch wide and miles deep. So we have to integrate with EHRs around the world and put data in one spot where we can enable real-time analytics. Everything's sensor-based, a theme you're hearing repeatedly throughout this meeting. We provide that PI data real-time with no capital equipment, with a wireless network like you have in your home or your office. It just sits on a wall. It can sit in a cupboard, integrates with EHRs through FHIR and HL7, and downloads data real time to the screens right in front of the physicians with no capital footprint. We also have apps, and we give patients control of their data. They download our apps when they consent for the case, and then we're on their cell phones, interacting with patients and securing that information. Right now, no one can give you an aortic regurgitation score because you can't put two sensors across a heart valve. We do that real time with multiple pressure sensors on a guide wire. This is where TAVR was intended to go. It was part of the partner's requirement in the study and the partner trials. But you need multiple devices to give you left ventricular and aortic pressure. Now on a workhorse wire, you get it both. And it's wireless, and you deploy the valve over that workhorse wire. So, TAVR. When it was originally introduced, it was intended for high-risk patients, and it's ever increasing in terms of the volume. In order for that procedure to grow in the United States, we need to have better measurements of aortic regurgitation. It's a large market. The United States and North America is the fastest growing market. We think with this single device, TAVR SmartWire, we'll have over $400 million in revenue by the end of the decade. This is a big clinical problem that you can't put a pressure sensor in the left ventricle. You get your aortic pressure through a pigtail catheter in the aorta. But how do you get that left ventricular pressure? You don't. You have to wait until after the procedure, wheel in transthoracic echo, go on Doppler color flow, and measure at that point in time. So if you have a paravalvular leak, you know afterwards. We're going to tell you real time in an aortic regurgitation score, and you don't have to work to get it. In fact, it'll be cheap. This is not new. I mean, people have been trying to measure aortic regurgitation, and you can do it. But if you can do it without multiple manometers, multiple catheters, transducers on the manifold, and you can do it on a workhorse wire. That's what everyone's needed. So via the cloud, we're going to do that. We're going to tell you a refined assessment using artificial intelligence, using mean pressure gradients and left ventricular end diastolic pressure, real time, if you need to reballoon that valve. Don't wait and bring the patient back to the cath lab after they've had a paravalvular leak. Just fix it right then and there. What's interesting is this is not a difficult thing to do in terms of clinical studies. The hard part is the technology. We've built the technology. The wire itself is a 510K. We'll launch that at the end of next year in the United States. And the wireless network in the United States next year. The hard part was that aortic regurgitation score. That comes later. After every case around the world and every valve goes into XMD, we'll get that very, very quickly because we're not just dealing with one center or two. We're dealing with global data sets. Now, what's in the future for Xenter? We're going to launch wireless vascular imaging integrated with wireless physiology and guide wires, a whole family of smart wires. The uptake of IVUS in the United States has been kind of low, largely because you have to wheel around carts. There's a lot of capital cost. There's a lot of staff that's required to use those catheters. We're getting rid of all of that. So SmartWire will be a family of wires in the cardiology, neuro, and peripheral spaces. Wireless IVUS will integrate with a new semiconductor technology called CMUT on CMOS. It is not the existing piezoelectric crystals you have today, and you can tune it, you can vary it. You can change the depth, and you can do that real time, all with Smart IVUS. You open up the package, hit power, it syncs with the network, you put it on the guide wire. So this tri-registration has been the holy grail of interventional medicine for 20 years. You have pressure data from a wire, you have IVUS data, it's all co-registered, and you bring in the angiographic data through open APIs, and it learns in a global model. So Smart IVUS is small. It acts like a microcatheter. You can actually deliver it in the brain for the first time. And it's less than a ½ centimeter in length, and at 2.5 French, it really performs like a microcatheter. I think, as we've gone around the world with tech suites, we've kept this kind of quiet. We did this under the cover of COVID, and we had to bring in and build a different company, bring in different engineers. We have semiconductor designers. We do ADD conversion. We do ASICs and MEMS technology. We have cloud people and software designers. And we've partnered them with medical device engineers who've been building guide wires and catheters their entire lives. We have issued patents. We're working on new signals technologies. And we hope to enable our implantable chips programs in the future. And I'd love to chat with you a little bit. We've raised over $40 million in private money. Now we are bringing in some venture capital partners, and then we'll pursue an IPO in a couple of years. Thank you.